Let's begin with a simple fact. Time passes faster in the mountains than it does at sea level. The difference is small, but it can be measured with precision timepieces that can be bought today on the internet for a few £1,000s. With practice, anyone can witness the slowing down of time. With the timepieces of specialized laboratories, this slowing down of time can be detected between levels just a few centimeters apart. A clock placed on the floor runs a little more slowly than one on a table. It is not just the clocks that slow down. Lower down, all processes are slower. Two friends separate, with one of them living in the plains and the other going to live in the mountains. They meet up again years later. The one who has stayed down has lived less, aged less. The mechanism of his cuckoo clock has oscillated fewer times. He has had less time to do things. His plants have grown less. His thoughts have had less time to unfold. Lower down, there is simply less time than at altitude. Is this surprising? Perhaps it is, but this is how the world works. Time passes more slowly in some places, more rapidly in others. The surprising thing, perhaps, is that someone understood this slowing down of time a century before we had clocks precise enough to measure it. His name, of course, was Albert Einstein. The ability to understand something before it's observed is at the heart of scientific thinking. In antiquity, Anaximander understood that the sky continues beneath our feet long before ships had circumnavigated the Earth. At the beginning of the modern era, Copernicus understood that the Earth turns long before astronauts had seen it do so from the Moon. In a similar way, Einstein understood that time does not pass uniformly everywhere before the development of clocks accurate enough to measure the different speeds at which it passes. In the course of making such strides, we learned that the things which seemed self-evident to us were really no more than prejudices. It seemed obvious that the sky was above us and not below. Otherwise, the Earth would fall down. It seemed self-evident that the Earth did not move. Otherwise, it would cause everything to crash. That time passed at the same speed everywhere seemed equally obvious to us. Children grow up and discover that the world is not as it seemed from within the four walls of their homes. Humankind as a whole does the same. Einstein asked himself a question which has perhaps puzzled many of us when studying the force of gravity. How can the sun and the earth attract each other without touching and without utilizing anything between them? He looked for a plausible explanation and found one by imagining that the sun and the earth do not attract each other directly, but that each of the two gradually acts on that which is between them. And since what lies between them is only space and time, he imagined that the sun and the earth each modified the space and time that surrounded them, just as a body immersed in water displaces the water around it. This modification of the structure of time influences in turn the movement of bodies, causing them to fall towards each other. What does it mean, this modification of the structure of time? It means precisely the slowing down of time described above. A mass slows down time around itself. The Earth is a large mass and slows down time in its vicinity. It does so more in the plains and less in the mountains, because the plains are closer to it. This is why the friend who stays at sea level ages less slowly.